Hi Mark, I'm back with our first question. So, why is per VM information and monitoring important for anyone running a VMware environment?
Okay, so the first is, if we look at how traditional, and even some of the new entrants, how they're approaching storage, there is no relationship, there is no understanding that a block of data, whether it's living on flash now or traditional spinning disk, there is no relationship or understanding that that block belongs to a virtual disk inside a virtual machine. So fundamentally, we believe that the application is now the virtual machine, and that's actually the level of management where all management should be performed, not necessarily down at the traditional infrastructure components, because it's applications that run business. Now, if you want to understand how an application is performing, how it interacts with the storage, you need to have per VM visibility. In fact, you need per vDisk visibility, and that's what Tintri actually offers. So we can show you every read, every write, how it's interacting with the storage. And because we can see this information, we can provide you with very granular information around IOPS, so total IOPS, but the relationship between reads and writes. So if you've got an instance of SQL, for example, you can see whether it's a read dominant or write dominant instance down to the individual vDisk, whether it's the log, the index, or the actual database itself. We can show you things like the throughput, and throughput obviously for certain applications is incredibly important. But equally so, we can show you the end-to-end latency. So latency that's been induced by the host, the network, and the storage. So if you've ever tried to troubleshoot an application performance problem when the app's running on a VM and you've got traditional storage, where is the problem? It's the good old blame game. It's a network issue.
Who would you say it's more important for, though, that ability to see per VM and also down to the vDisk? Which group of people?
It actually applies to multiple sets, because the normal reaction is when there is an application performance problem is let's go and blame the network guys, or let's go and blame the storage guys. Normally what happens at that point is each one of those groups will run around and try and prove that they're innocent, that there is no problem on the environment. And eventually you find out days, if not weeks later, it was a poorly architected transaction in a database. So whether it be the database administrator, the guys that are operating the servers, the network and infrastructure guys, or the storage folks, all of them can understand very quickly where the problem is, so you can very quickly identify which part of the infrastructure is and go and investigate further and find the problem. So the typical groups that will benefit from this technology: storage engineers, virtual machine administrators. They're the most common two groups that will benefit from Tintri's technology.
Okay, thank you very much.